What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the best lenses to buy for sports photography. I made a video like this around 2 years ago, but I recently got the 70-200 lens for sports photography, which has been huge. So I wanted to remake this video and talk about the lenses that I have, kind of what I use them for, what kind of sports, and then what I like about each one to kind of help you guys make that decision as well and to see what you guys want to look at. So first off, understanding your needs. So this is super important. So I actually have two of these lenses. This is a 70-200, this is a 1-400. And understanding your needs is super important because I just got this 70-200 because I had this one before, the 1-400. But at first I wasn't really shooting like sports that were kind of more close up, which you need the 70-200 for. And that I didn't really need the lower light capability for that. I didn't really need the RF, the new one, because it costs a lot more as well. And I'm a college student, so there's kind of a lot of like decisions to factor into that. First off, I guess it's expensive, obviously, for the RF. And I already had this lens. This is an EF, and then I have an adapter on it. And then I just didn't really use it for a lot of sports like close up. Like I've been shooting more golf, which I'd be a little closer with. And then like basketball, I'm right under the rim. Volleyball, stuff like that, where you have to be a lot closer than, let's say, like football or soccer, when you have to shoot across a field. So that's definitely a big difference for me. And this lens also for the f4, I got the f4 obviously because it was like $1,000 cheaper, and I was like, I'm not gonna be shooting that much low light, like low light, where the f4 still works great, where this lens is like f5.6, yeah, 4.5 to 5.6, which you need to be basically outside in pretty good light to even shoot with that, or it's gonna be pretty grainy. So that's also a big factor when you're looking at stuff, because if you're shooting, let's say, football at night, which I did before, this lens has a lot of grain in it, which I'm not a big fan of. So then I would take this one out, even though you can only use this one a little bit closer in. So there's definitely like pros and cons to each lens that you have. And then I also want to talk about prime versus zoom lenses. So I've also used indoors my 50mm f1.8 in basketball because it's been a lot darker if you're shooting at night. Obviously there's lights in the gym, but sometimes the lights aren't that good. So if I'm sitting under the rim, I'll use the f1.8 with a 50mm, which has been amazing for me because I've tried to use this lens, but the f4 just doesn't cut it with the low light. So I think that there's definitely like a balance between prime versus zoom lenses, because obviously if you have something like this is so important for, obviously, like I said, and then like baseball as well. I've shot a bunch for college. So baseball and stuff, if someone's making a big catch, they're running for the ball, being able to zoom is huge. And I know there's some lenses that people use for soccer and football that are like crazy f2.8 400 mil, which is amazing. And obviously those lenses are crazy, but I think that those are for people who that's basically their job, because those lenses are so expensive and so precise, where lenses like this are a lot easier for people kind of like run and gun on the go, where you're not stationary, and it's a lot easier to use those huge lenses. So I think there's pros and cons to each one, but for me, I think these zoom lenses have been huge, especially not having to pay a ton of money for those prime lenses, because the f2.8 like 400 is probably like 10 grand or something. I know I've seen some for like 30 grand. So those are crazy lenses, and I know they're amazing, but they definitely have their place within what you do and what you shoot. The third thing I wanted to talk about is wide angle options for unique perspectives. So 24-70, I've gotten some of my best basketball photos actually with that under the hoop. So they've been a little bit grainy, but just having that unique perspective where you kind of open it up, and I'll add a photo on there right now where I was under the hoop, and it was like a crazy like game-winning dunk. And yeah, like I was right under the hoop right there, and it just kind of opens it up where you're not just focused on the player, but you can also see the fans, the crowd, and then also the other players around him, kind of their emotions. And I think it just offers a really unique perspective, because if I'm using a lens like this, or the 70-200, I usually like it pretty tight on their face or their like body, kind of whatever they're doing. So then it offers a tighter perspective, where having a wide angle can really give you a unique perspective and kind of have fun with things, especially if you're kind of messing around, trying to get some cool shots. And then it also leads to some cool shots that you can use for like marketing and social media. And then also the players love those kind of unique shots that are different from what they normally get. So yeah, those are super cool. I would definitely recommend messing around with that. And I'm actually wanting to look at a 16 to 35 lens to try to do more fun stuff like that, and also for landscapes. But we'll kind of see what happens with that, but I'll definitely keep you updated if I get a lens like that. So I think that would be super cool, especially kind of around like the 20 mil lens, the 20 mil area for shooting those wide angle in sports, especially for like getting like fields, stuff like that is super good for those. Just gets you a super cool perspective for sports. And the fourth thing I want to talk about is budget friendly alternatives. So kind of this thing is like why I have this, and for budget friendly, I'm a college student. I can't drop like $10,000 on these lenses. So having this lens with the adapter, and I had this lens before, it was only a couple $100. And it's an EF 1-400, 4 to 5.6. And this lens is amazing. I've been using it for like 5 years now. And I haven't had any problems with it. It definitely needs to get cleaned a little bit, but overall, like just having lenses like this, you don't need the newest RF lens. Even this lens, I got the f4 because I didn't feel like I needed the f2.8 as much, and I didn't feel like spending an extra $1,000 for it. So having those kind of alternatives and really being like, do I really need this lens? Because I waited probably like 3 years of like looking at this lens to even get it, because I was like, I only want to get a lens that I know that I'm going to use a lot, because obviously they're super expensive, and then you have to carry around them in your bag as well. So it's like at a certain point, now that I have the 70-200, I'm not even going to take this thing, because it's like, look at this comparison. It probably weighs like 1/3 the amount. So I'll probably just take this and then my 24-70 in my bag, and I'll basically have all the focal ranges covered. So having stuff like that makes a big difference, and just kind of being able to be like, hey, what do I really need? What am I gonna use a lot? Because I think some people just go and like buy lenses because they're like, oh, this lens is gonna be so good for me, and then they never use it. Like, so yeah, be very careful with what you do, because I have a 50 mil as well, which I was like the f1.8, which I don't use as much as I want to, because I have the 24-70, and it's just such a better focal range, and it's so more like versatile than having the 50 mil. So just knowing what you really want, knowing what you're gonna use is a huge option to save a lot of money, and maybe not getting the best one unless you're getting paid a lot of money for it, is what I would say. That's kind of my rule. Unless I'm getting paid for it and I'm gonna use it a lot and get paid, then I'm probably not gonna spend a ton of money on it, and it just doesn't make that much sense. And obviously, since I'm a college sports photographer, this makes sense, a 70-200, because I'm getting paid to shoot sports. But I would not have bought that normally. And I'm not gonna buy probably like a great landscape lens, because I'm not getting paid to do landscapes. So kind of just finding what you really need in your little niche that you do, and how you can get paid for it, is really kind of what I think of when I'm looking at lenses, and how I can kind of save money with that. So that's all I have for the video. Thanks for watching. I hope you got something out of this. Leave a comment down below. What's your favorite sports photography lens? I'm super interested. Right now, mine's definitely a 70-200. Had a ton of fun using it recently. So yeah, I would definitely say that. Thanks for watching. Definitely like, subscribe. It really helps me out. Trying to hit 1,000 subscribers. We're at like 270 right now. So we're getting there. We're climbing it up. We've definitely been growing a lot, and I'm super happy to have this little community of photographers. So it's been a lot of fun. But yeah, thanks for watching, and see you next video.